Marvel Rivals has been under attack from the Access media since this title's release, and it doesn't look like that's going to stop anytime soon. But months ago, the gamer had written this massive hit piece on the game saying fans were so furious over its lack of queer couples, and now the developers have addressed questions about this LGBTQ content, and they basically said, yeah, we just want to put what we want in the game, and there are some sensitive snowflakes melting down over this. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I don't think that the developers had to make this statement. They didn't have to talk to the gamer. Maybe they felt this would bring them in a few extra bucks, who knows? But the problem is that the wokies that are against them do not forgive and they do not forget. Even if tomorrow they made every single character LGBTQIA plus XYZ, the media would still say, well, we remember that you didn't have these characters in the game in the first place. We remember you didn't cater to us months ago, so we're still not going to purchase your product. And really, what the developers are doing is saying they are more concerned with making a good game instead of a game that pushes a certain agenda, and this is not the answer that some snowflakes wanted. So there was this exclusive interview they did where it says Marvel Rivals devs respond to the game's lack of queer content. We always take inspiration from the relationships in Marvel Comics. Imagine getting to sit down with the Marvel Rivals developers, and instead of asking them about their plans for the future of the game and characters they want to add and how they want to expand and grow their player base, you ask them about the lack of queer content. It just goes to show that the people that are writing these articles, these journalists, are more focused with politics instead of good entertainment. I understand maybe asking them like one question like, hey, do you know that there has been a small group of people requesting more of this content on social media? But that's not what they did, and they wrote an entire article about this. So it says Marvel Rivals 5th season, the season of love, started with promise. It canonized the Loki and Mantis ship and introduced the power couple Rogue and Gambit to the game. But while many enjoyed Rivals Love Fest, its queer community had concerns. The game made small references to queer relationships within the game's universe, like Angela mentioning her spouse by name during in-game banter, but never explicitly stating they were married. But it paled in comparison to the amount of screen time that Marvel's heterosexual couples receive. Yeah, probably because 80% of the world's population is heterosexual, and really I think it's higher, like 90%, but there are opportunists out there who claim they are a different sexuality in order to open up career paths for them and opportunities for them in the world. But you're really shocked that they want to quote unquote pander to the majority of the people in the world. Plus, you are talking about NetEase here, a Chinese company. Do you really think a CCP entity is worried about pandering to a very small group of people? No, of course not. If you want queer couples, go and play a different game. I mean, hell, even go play something like Apex Legends that does have a lot of LGBT relationships. In an exclusive interview with the gamer discussing all things about Rivals' first anniversary, the development team at NetEase suggested that it wasn't necessarily intentional, and they just pick the hero combinations according to what fits perfectly with a new season's theme. They go on to say Marvel Rivals' lack of queer representation is due to what fits perfectly with a season's theme, says NetEase. When we're designing and introducing new heroes, we always take inspiration from the character relationships in the Marvel comics, and when we have a good season theme coming up, we'll pick our hero combinations according to what fits perfectly with the theme. That rings true with the Season of Love's introduction of Rogue and Gambit, but it avoids the fact that overt queer relationships are clearly absent. Unfortunately, due to the nature of the interview being a one-shot email, we couldn't quickly follow up on the question. However, we did send a follow-up request based on this, and they say that Rivals features many prominent LGBTQ plus characters, but this still isn't good enough for them. You are literally sitting here saying, yeah, it's filled to the brim with the characters I like, but it's not enough, and I demand more. This is why nobody takes these outlets seriously anymore. The Kotakus, the Polygons, the gamers, you guys are absolute jokes, and this has led to a lot of people on social media who don't actually play this game or care about the video game industry saying it's not good enough and we need to cancel them over this. Queer people are not a theme. You even added a canonical lesbian to your game already, and when you were doing a love-themed season, you gave her nothing and created some fuck-ass Scarlet Witch and Venom ship instead. It's homophobia. That's all. We draw inspiration from the comics, but you put Venom and Wanda in the intro animation to the love-themed season instead of representing the canon lesbian character Angela. And if they didn't want to put in non-playable characters, they could have just put in Eddie and Venom. Queer people are constantly deprived any representation because it might upset a bunch of bigots. Representation matters, and we deserve better from these fuck-ass companies. Entire season about love, Netties. Yeah, but we have to stay on theme, so yeah, sorry, no LGBT stuff for you. I'm not surprised since it's a Chinese company. Watch them not do anything for Pride either. Yeah, again, all you do by adding in these different events based on all of these days is divide your player base. I wouldn't want a straight Pride Day, so why is it you need a gay Pride Day? Is it really that serious? Doing mental gymnastics just because you don't want to put a real queer content and representation in the game. And while there are a lot of people upset over this, there are also a ton of gamers who are saying, yeah, they just want to make money. Are you really that shocked by it? Translation, piss off. We want to make actual money. TLDR, we don't cater to you. We cater to our core audience, and the one that pays it makes sense. Netties, continue to make your game how you want it, and hopefully they'll all go play Apex or another Concord looking game. Yeah, in just a couple of weeks they can play High Guard. Surely they'll show up for that, right, guys? Right. Finally, a game that doesn't listen to the loud minority. I love how they're upset at one frame of Scarlet Witch and Venom, even if there's no lore about it. There's people saying translation. We saw what happened with Concord, and the Access media and some of these individuals who are complaining right now have been very upset over the sexuality that is highlighted in this game. They say, oh, they're dressing their characters up like strippers and they're trying to appeal to gooners. I mean, the gamer even called this a gooner game before, so it just shows how desperate they've been for a gotcha against this team and how desperate they've been to try to find another reason to cancel them. But the actual fans of this title are defending it tooth and nail, and I'm fine with having a LGBTQ plus relationship in a game very occasionally, but we have seen overrepresentation in this industry over the last decade, and now it's gone to the point where this loud minority will try to get your company buried and canceled if you do not make every character LGBTQ or stunning and brave. And judging by some of the responses here, yeah, these people were just desperate for an angle against this team. So at the end of the day, I don't think that they needed to respond to the gamer. I don't think they needed to try to answer this question because they did really beat around the bush, and now it's just going to give the wokies more ammunition against their title. But the developers have now upset a couple of snowflakes, and the real fans of this game are going to stick around and still play it because they just enjoy the gameplay and the majority of the characters, while the mob on social media is now saying, no, 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 this can't be. We need to cancel this title because they were not the target audience for this game and they are seething over it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.